Hello everyone, this is Kendrick Franklin here, and today on Roblox I'm playing Thomas and the Magic Railroad by Ryan Smells 24. I think that was his username. Comment down below if I'm correct. And while I'm playing this, we already got Thomas and Gordon over here. And while I play it, I'm going to be telling you guys the production history, like how they made this. In the early 1990s, Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends was at the height of its popularity following 3 successful series. At the same time, its American and spin-off Shining Time Station was also successful. As early as 1994, prior to launching the 4th season, Britt Allcroft had made plans to make a feature-length film based off of these two shows, and would make the use of trains from Thomas and the live-action and as the etiquette of Shining Time Station. Initial plans between Allcroft and co-creator Rick Sigelcow would have been a straightforward Shining Time Station film. The film would have been a circus train coming to the station, with Mr. Conductor unintentionally caused by J.B. King's latest efforts to find him being captured by the evil ringmaster. The Shining Time gang, alongside Thomas and the other engines, together for the first time in series history, would have gone after him. Scenarios discussed for the film include a circus girl becoming friends with the station kids and overcoming her fear of horses and becoming a student rider. The jukebox band would be lost and scattered after the titular home gets knocked over. JB finally meeting Mr. Conductor and Schemer are being shot from a cannon. Plans for the feature were ultimately put on hold when Sigelcow moved to the head and new children's division for BBC Worldwide Americas in September 1995. In February 1996, Allcroft was approached by Barry London, the then vice chairman of Paramount Pictures, with an idea for a Thomas film. Allcroft signed a contract to write a script for the film with the working title of Thomas and the Magic Railroad. According to press release, filming was due to take place at Sherperton Studios in the United Kingdom and United States, with the theatrical release set for 1997. The same month, Wilbur Audrey gave his blessing for the film. He claimed, "If the film follows the stories written in the books, all well and good. If they're treated in the same way as the videos, that is unwelcome. As far as I'm concerned, they're a washout." However, Paramount shelved the plans for the film after London left the company. This led to Allcroft seek other sources of funding. Discussions about the film were held in Polygram hologram, which did not go on any further as the company was in the middle of a corporate restructuring on sale. During all of this, her company from Golden Pictures, an American distribution arm in 1997. And then, oh look, we got 10 cents from Tugs. An American distribution arm in 1997 with a minimum of $50 million of backing from the company. The primary mission of Golden was to develop, produce, and distribute films and TV programs for the U.S. marketplace. Initial projects were distributing Thomas Shining Time and fellow Allcroft production, The Magic Adventures of Muffmean, through both pre-existing American contracts and then the new Fox Family channel, and production drama and producing an adult drama film, Row Your Boat. In the summer of 1998, during the launch of the 5th series in the UK, Allcroft saw on Isle of Man and commotion advert offering tax incentives to compare to companies who wanted to film on the island. And Allcroft visited the island and for a few weeks later, and decided the location was perfect for the film. In 1999, Barry London became chairman of the newly found Destination Films and renewed his interest for the project, leading to Destination Films becoming the main financial backer and studio for the film, along with Hit Entertainment itself. In February, and secured distribution rights to the film in the United States, as well as a possible sales exchange deal in the UK and Ireland, with Golden Pictures would have international sales. Icon Film Distribution acquired British and Irish distribution rights from Destination in June of 1999. After Britt Allcroft had proposed the idea of a full-length theatrical film, the crew were worried that the Gauge 1 models would not add up to a cinematic condition, and the model's imperfections, perfectly fine on television screens, would look problematic on the big screen. Because of this, the film crew had the idea of filming the fifth series and every previous season series with larger gauge 3.5 models. Models of Thomas and Percy were built by David Eves during 1996. The models were made from brass, unlike the previously plastic models of the show. The model of Thomas would later be used in some music videos was produced during the 5th series. A model of Kronk Station was built, a station previously never been seen before in the show. 3 test sequences were created. The first test sequence was simply called Test Sequence. In this sequence, Thomas crosses a wooden bridge over a stream and looks at his reflection. Thomas reaches a station and stops there. Then Thomas's driver steps from his cab and leaves. The next sequence, titled Little Man, starts with Thomas running through the countryside. Percy passes him. After looking at his reflection in the water, Thomas meets Percy at a station where Mr. Conductor, at his normal size, who was running Thomas, leaves the station, and so does Thomas. Big Man, the third sequence, Big Man is the same as Little Man, except Mr. Conductor was at human size. Mr. Conductor was green screened in both tests. The crew was left with footage that had runtime less than a standard episode. It was ultimately decided that it would be too costly to rebuild an entire new fleet of engines. The crew returned back to Gauge 1 models for the 5th series of the show and Thomas and the Magic Railroad. The 3.5 Thomas and Percy would later be reproduced and as designed models for Jack and the Sodor Construction Company, and close-up shots of the engines between the 5th to 12th series of Thomas and Friends. Now for the film. Principal of photography began on the 2nd of August in 1999 and wrapped up on the 15th of October in 1999. Filming took place at Strasburg Railroad in Strasburg, Pennsylvania, in the United States, as well as Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and on the Isle of Man. The Castletown Railway Station on the Isle of Man Railway formed part of Shining Time Station and the goods shed of Port St. Mary Railway Station and became Burnett Stone's workshop. The large passenger station where Lily boards the train in at Harrisburg Transport Center. Strasburg Railroad's ex Norfolk and Western 475 was repainted as the Rainbow Sun. During production, Thomas and Percy had replica of brass models made. This was because their original plastic models were starting to show their age and had been repaired and repainted so many times that the crew were afraid some of these imperfections would be seen on the big screen, and the models needed to be in top condition for intense filming. The new models were made out of brass and painted in matte finishes. They were equipped with CNC machined brass chassis powered by DC motors, and the buffer beam details were built from scratch. The plastic models were also repainted in matte finish and had their Markland chassis replaced with new CNC brass-made chassis. Sodor was realized using models and chroma key. The models were using live-action remote control as on the television series. The model sequences were shot in Toronto instead of Sherpinton Studios, the home of the original show. However, several of the show's key staff were flown over to participate. When the film sets from the TV series were sent to Sherpinton for Toronto, many set pieces and buildings were damaged beyond repair and from shipping and had to be recreated from scratch. Oh, look, there's Jane. Names in the smelter's yard. During the first week of filming, Tidmouth Sheds became wrapped up due to the set reaching 113 Fahrenheit, forcing the crew to rebuild it. The Magic Railroad was created using models, CGI, and water or matte paintings. Throughout post-production, the visual effects were provided by 6 studios: CORE Digital Pictures, Jagged Visual Effects, Howard Granite Films, Laird FX, Mad Dog Digital, and Toy Box. In a 2007 Sodor Island fansite interview, Britt Allcroft commented that the finished film was dramatically different from the version she had written, with several scenes, plot elements, and characters being cut from the final film. One of the biggest changes of the film was the removal of the villain, the main villain, P.T. Boomer. The film's original main antagonist. The official reason for his removal was the stupid test audiences found him to be too frightening for children, but they found his scenes boring. Despite his excision, Boomer still appeared in a few unedited moments of the final film, and even appeared in one of the trailers, which shows him and Diesel 10 falling off the viaduct. The official Thomas and the Magic Railroad website and also had images and information regarding his character Brian to be cut. Parts of his character, such as his goal-defined lady, were also rewritten for the film's other villain, Diesel 10. And as you can see, Diesel 10 was down there, and now he's up here. Several character voices were also changed during production. Thomas was originally voiced by John Bellis, a fireman and part-time taxi who worked on the film as the Isle of Man transportation coordinator and facilities manager. Bellis received the role after he had happened to pick up Allcroft and her crew from the airport. Allcroft believed his voice suited Thomas perfectly, so he was flown to Toronto to record his lines. Test audiences in Los Angeles disliked Bell's voice for Bellis's voice for Thomas, believing in his Liverpoolian Liverpudlian accent made Thomas sound too old. Bellis was replaced by Eddie Gled, who gave Thomas a more youthful voice. And in my opinion, he actually sounds perfect. He sounds like a young adult male with his. He sounds cheeky with his young adult male voice. James, Percy, and the henchman Diesels, Splatter, and Dodge were originally going to be voiced by Michael Angelis, then the narrator of the TV show in the UK dub. The test audiences also considered his voice to be too old for the characters, and so he was replaced by Sunset Roman as James and Linda Ballantine, and who also as Percy, who gave the two a more youthful but ladyish accent, womanish. Percy, though, I can understand. Percy's voice, though, I can understand why it would be like that, because he's supposed to be the squeaky guy. But James? I know he has a high voice, but he's not Michael Jackson, for Pete's sake. Why would they need to have a woman voice him? I mean, Michael Angelis did James's voice perfectly. Stop that nonsense! God, jeez, it was so funny. So they should have kept him, or maybe used Eric Idle, or maybe even Wallace Shawn or Don Rickles. Their voices would have been perfect for either him or Henry. Heck, either Craig T. Nelson or John Cleese could have also been there as Gordon. That would be hilarious, but also perfect. Splatter and Dodge were also recast with Neil Crone, who also did Diesel 10's voice in the final cut, fun fact, and Kevin Frank, respectively. Patrick Breen originally voiced Toby, Henry, and Bertie, but he was replaced for unknown reasons to be replaced by Colm Feore and Kevin Frank, respectively. Diesel 10 was originally voiced by Keith Scott, but his voice was later changed. Scott believes that he was replaced due to his voice sounding too scary for younger kids. And I do kind of agree with that, but man, Keith Scott did so perfectly. So Diesel 10 was recast with Neil Crone, who did his voice so perfect. Really. Literally. Who gave Diesel 10 a Russian accent. However, due to complaints by test audiences who believed the voice could be considered offensive, Neil Crone gave Diesel 10 a stylish New Jersey accent. He and Kevin Frank both improvised a lot out of comedy in the film. In a 35mm teaser trailer for the film, for Thomas and the Magic Railroad, Diesel 10 says to Thomas, "Things are gonna change around here, puffball," while speaking with an Australian accent. The trailer was narrated by Eric Idle. In the theatrical version, and Jimmy Cummings in the video version and was released in 1999. Now, although many believe Keith Scott voiced Diesel 10 in the teaser, it is impossible to verify as true. During filming of the confrontation scene at the smelter's yard, James's model fell off the set and was significantly damaged. Even after repairs were completed, cracks could still be seen in his cab and other areas, even during the final cut. So, yeah, that's probably much it for now, guys. And I think that's pretty much it for the Thomas and the Magic Railroad production history for now, guys. I'll catch you later. We did it. Wait, no, I'm not. Wait, before I end this video, there's something I wanna show to you guys. So, as I said earlier, they incorporated Thomas and Shining Time together. And here's the Rainbow Sun engine. And there's the beach where Mr. Conductor, played by Alec Baldwin, realizes his cousin C. Jr., played by Scottish actor Michael E. Rogers, who's as his cousin Jr. is on vacation at the beach. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the production history of Thomas and the Magic Railroad for now. Let me know in the comments section if I've ever missed anything. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you want to join the Kendra crew, and press that like if you enjoyed watching me. Bye-bye!
Now, we'll always remember our shining